What's going on, guys? PlayBox and we're back for another Dragon Ball Legends video. In this one, I want to discuss something that was recently found in the game's data, the files, I guess, or whatever you want to call it. So it could be something pretty good or something very bad for the game, but we're going to be talking all about it here. Before we hop into it, I just want to let you guys know to make sure to follow me on Twitter if you guys aren't following me already. I'm trying to get to 100 followers there. I want to kind of grow Twitter a bit more. So if you guys haven't followed me there already, make sure you guys go follow me there. The link will be in the description below, so make sure you guys go there. So we'll just switch pages here and we're gonna go to this guy's page. So this guy's page is I'm Spoon. So let me just go all the way here. This is I'll leave a link to his Twitter in the description as well, but his name is Spoon. I'm Spoo space SP8N whatever. His name is Spoon, okay, but he does a lot of digging within the game's data files, and he like pretty much shows what's in the data that might not be already in the game, because there could be some data within the game that is not released yet. Like for example, like Gogeta Blue, Vegeta Blue, all these different characters were in the game's files, right? But they're never released, right? So this guy can pretty much go into the game's data and find whatever's there. You can also see he does like a bunch of wacky stuffs here, like bring in like what is that, Dragon Fist Goku's the dragon and it's out of in the summons. Like he does a bunch of modding and stuff, and it's pretty funny. So if you guys are interested in that type of stuff, make sure you guys go follow him. But he did find oh yeah, by the way, he was also the one that found out about the new unique gauge that Ultra Gogeta has, the one with the fist on it that fills up with every arts card you use. So he was the one that actually found out about it prior to Gogeta's release, and I covered it already in a previous video. So he's pretty credible and he's pretty legit, so there's nothing to worry about there. But he recently found a couple of weeks ago, or I think a couple of days ago at this point, something pretty interesting, and we'll go to it. Where is this? Pretty down. So right here. So let's read this, what he wrote. So after playing with the unique gauge lock more since Gogeta is out, apparently it works as a cooldown, which also only works for characters like Gogeta. So there's that. So prior, I think right as they released Gogeta, he found a new, I guess, mechanic in the game where you're able to lock the unique gauge from filling up. So if we take a look at the video here, if I just play it here, let me just mute that. You'll see the unique gauge right here, right? So, and then you see right here, it's locked for 10 counts. So while the unique gauge is locked, Gogeta pretty much can't fill up his unique gauge. As you can see, it's back to half like it was before. So during this 10-second 10 timer counts, basically, you're not able to utilize one of Gogeta's pretty much main feature that makes this unit so busted, right? The ability to continuously replenish your gauge and get that blue card, the damage, the key, and all that stuff, right? That's pretty much the main reason, that the main feature that makes this guy so oppressive is that constant blue cards, and of course the blue card destroying all your cards and everything else. But so this pretty much stops him from utilizing one of his key features, and it's in the game right now. So this pretty much, I mean, it's not out yet obviously, but this type of mechanic is in the game. And the reason I was saying it was like either good or bad is because, of course, if you're someone that goes up against Gogeta often, this would be pretty good for you, right? Especially if you don't have him and the enemy is using Gogeta. This is one way to like completely stop it. That's actually 12 counts, by the way, I just realized, but that's one way to completely stop him from being so oppressive. And this could be actually very bad for the game, because as someone that's summoned for this unit, right, thinking that you're able to utilize this gauge and all this stuff, you're pretty much missing out on half of this guy's kit almost. And it's not even like your fault. Like you know, spend Chrono Crystals to get this guy, and you're just completely losing out on half of his kit. And it's, I mean, I think it's at that point it's a bit unfair, and I think that's one of the reasons why we don't have anything like anti-revival mechanics. And I'm not talking about mechanics like such as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Goku and Vegeta, units like those where you get a certain type of buff when you pop someone's revival. I'm talking about someone that actually completely nullifies a revival and basically doesn't allow the unit to revive and basically transform or whatever, right? And I think that's good that they haven't done that, because you're basically completely negating a unit's kit. Like, you're completely cutting his kit in half, and you're not allowing that unit to, you know, become what it's supposed to become. Because a lot of people summon for these units in the hopes of using their revived state, right? So Gohan, the revival Gohan, you know, you're using him in hopes of being able to use eventually his Super Saiyan 2 form, right? And then Cell, you want to use his perfect form, and so on and so forth. So I think that's one of the reasons why they haven't released any type of complete revival nullifying units. And it's not really the same as units that can nullify endurance, because endurance is basically a way to, you know, first survive a rising rush, and just it's basically a way to get a bit more health after your health reaches 0. So you can kind of think of it as like some sort of health restoration, right? So it's not really that impactful in terms of being able to nullify it. I mean, it is very, of course, beneficial, but it's not so overpowered to the point that it completely changes the game. Whereas anti-revival mechanic basically cuts a kit in half and makes him pretty much unusable, because most of the time a unit, when they're reviving, their pre-revival state is pretty trash. Like, if you look at Revival Cell, like, he's basically a hero unit prior to his revival. So I think that's why they haven't released a revival unit, anti-revival unit, and I don't think they're going to anytime soon. Maybe they might, but I don't think they will. And that sort of logic pretty much also applies to, in this case, with the unique gauge locking. At this point, we have 4 units with unique gauge. This would pretty much only work on Gogeta, because I mean, it will work on other units like Trunks and Cell, and I mean, I guess UI Goku as well, but it's more effective on Gogeta because he's able to continuously fill up his gauge. Like, once you have Trunks or Cell's unique gauge fully maxed out, it doesn't really matter at that point because it doesn't increase anymore, right? So it's once it's filled, you get the buffs and you're good to go. But this guy, you want to continuously fill up the gauge. That's why this locking would be so effective on him, which is why I also don't think it's going to happen, I guess. But like I said, this mechanic is currently in the game right now. It's not on anyone's kit. It's not on any unit. It could be in the future, but it's in the game right now. So take that however you may. We also have a reply from Goresh. He actually responded to this. So basically, he said, "No, not a fan of things like this. Unique gauges make units fun and, well, unique," which is true. "We don't need mechanics that should have shut down unique gauges. Handling this in the same way anti-revive was handled is the move." So basically, what he's saying is, so you get buffs based on an enemy's unique gauge being filled, and etc. I understand things like anti-endurance are in the game, and I'm okay with that, but should have locking unique gauges or completely nullifying revival mechanic prevents you from enjoying units to their full potential, and that just isn't fun. And I'm pretty sure a lot of people would agree with this statement, myself included. Like I just explained this whole time, you're basically not allowing a unit to utilize like half of his kit, and that shouldn't be the way they move forward with this, because like I said, people summon for these units. Some people spend money and summon for these units, and later down the line, you're basically selling a unit that completely shuts down this unit. And not in the sense that, you know, you can destroy this unit with this unit or something like that, but you're not allowing this unit to utilize his kit, which makes no sense. So yeah, I was gonna say something, but I completely forgot. Oh yeah, I want to touch up on this. So how they should handle this is how he explained it. If you want to drop a sort of quote-unquote anti-unique gauge unit, you would want them to act as the same way as units like Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta, Goku Vegeta, Super Saiyan Blue Evolved, units like that, where once the unit, in this case, let's say Ultra Gogeta, fills up his unique gauge, you as the opponent will get certain buffs whenever he fills up his gauge. And now in the case of Gogeta, since you're able to continuously fill up this gauge, right, you don't want the buffs to be too extreme. Like in the case of the revive is only going to happen once, which is why like units like Gogeta get such a massive buff, right? 50% damage inflicted, 4 Dragon Balls, 20% health. These are big buffs, but they're only going to happen once. But in this case, where a unit can continuously replenish the unique gauge, you don't want the buff to be extremely huge, right? You want it to be something like minor, like, you know, remove 2 Dragon Balls, that's fine. Actually, now that I think about it, remove 2 Dragon Balls is kind of bad, because at that point, if you're using Gogeta, you're never gonna get a rush. So maybe remove 1 Dragon Ball, or like maybe not Dragon Balls, because that would be really overpowered if you're just removing 2 Dragon Balls continuously. Maybe just getting like damage inflicted, you know, losing ki, you know, causes the enemy to lose ki or stuff like that, gaining some damage inflicted, sustained damage cuts, stuff like that would be good. You know, increase art card draws, art cards cost, stuff like that can like kind of cut Gogeta's combos and stop them, and kind of slow down his unique gauge filling up mechanic, because you're pretty much stopping him from doing a combo, especially with Gogeta having card draw speed and stuff like that. Key recovery, like he's gonna continuously be like doing combos, right? So a way to like kind of cut that combo in half, it would probably be the way to go in terms of dealing with units like him. I don't know how they're gonna handle that with other unique gauges, but you got to keep in mind that Ultra Gogeta can continuously fill up his gauge, so you don't want the buff to be too substantial in that case. So that's pretty much what I wanted to talk about in regards to this unique gauge stuff. I don't know if they're gonna, okay, let's stop there. I don't know if they're going to release this type of unique gauge like soon. We are slotted to potentially get a new LF, like, right? We're used to getting monthly LFs at this point, so I mean, we're getting close to getting our next LF. And a lot of people, of course, have started speculating, so might as well start as well. Let's go to characters over here. So if you guys don't remember, Gogeta Blue and Broly dropped at the same time as this Ultra Gogeta, right? They were the part 2 units for Legends Festival last year, and right after their release is when we started getting, of course, the monthly LFs. But the first LF to come out was this guy, Future Gohan. So this guy was pretty I guess underrated on the release, and I feel like that was when you look at him now, he's like one of the best units in the game, top 5 unit almost. And I feel like he was underrated back then, not mainly, but a big factor in that was probably his placement on Game Press's tier list. I'm not gonna lie, because back when he dropped, they were rating LFs at 3 stars. And so if you take a look at this guy's stats at 3 stars, he doesn't even break the 200,000 strike attack barrier, and that's pretty damn underwhelming for an LF unit, right? So right away when he dropped, a lot of people like just completely disregarded him as one of the worst LFs maybe. But since then he has aged tremendously well, probably one of the best aging units in the game, being still in Z tier after a year after his release, and him not even being a Zenkai unit is even more crazier, right? So if we're kind of expecting a unit of this caliber to drop right after Ultra Gogeta, like, that's going to be huge. So a lot of people have started speculating, thinking of what could be the next unit, and they kind of tied back to the free-to-play units we've been getting recently. So if we take a look, we recently got this first form Frieza, right? Prior to that, we had this Kid Buu, we had this Rose, we had Cybermen. They dropped because of Ape Vegeta. So they kind of look at these free-to-play units as maybe an indicator for what's gonna drop next. When we got this Kid Buu, I think a couple weeks after, we got the LF Cell. When we got this Rose, a couple weeks later, we got Sword of Hope Trunks, you know, so it kind of, I guess, makes sense. It might just be a coincidence. A lot of people have started speculating that we might potentially get like an LF Bardock, and that was the red transforming Bardock from the Frieza